Becoming a star in the NFL can really go to your head.
That's where probably me and the Chiefs fell apart right there when I'm like, yo, I don't mean to talk or be a diva.
Some guys out there, man, they're getting a little too big for their britches if you ask me. So today, let's take a look at 10 of the biggest divas in the NFL right now. Stefan Diggs. People seem to think that Stefan Diggs was turning a page in Buffalo compared to his antics in Minnesota, but after seeing how the past 12 months have played out, I think we all might have been a little early on anointing him redeemed. Diggs made a spectacle out of his absence during the team's voluntary offseason camps and left mandatory minicamp after day one. He's continued to look frustrated on the field and on the sideline, as the Bills have had a somewhat inconsistent start to the year. Josh Allen has done a good job of downplaying the situation, but you have to think that Diggs' behavior is starting to wear thin on the other guys in the Buffalo locker room who are focused on trying to bring a title to Western New York.
You don't want to lose any game, but we've lost for a couple years at this point. And we've been trying to get over the hump, and obviously it calls for a lot of frustration.
Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill may have an endearing, fan-friendly nickname, Cheetah, but he is far from the example you'd want to use for kids if you want to try to teach him how to coexist in a team environment without being a diva. Hill is fortunate that he's been an absolute force to be reckoned with ever since he broke into the league in 2016. Year one, he was primarily regarded as a dynamic kick return option and a guy who could slot into the offense as a big play threat. But you know, with each passing year, his game has become more undeniable. With the success that he's had down in Miami, his detractors can no longer call him a byproduct of Andy Reid's system or Patrick Mahomes' arm. However, with that change, he's also been given a different role in a much different organization. And that has really fed into his diva attitude expanding. I mean, think about it. With the Chiefs, Hill had to sort of get in line, so to speak, at times. The team had extremely serious Super Bowl ambitions, and with a veteran head coach and talent all over the field, there was just no time for theatrics. Whereas in Miami, Tyreek is the main attraction. That offense runs through him, and he knows it. He was the big-name free agent acquisition, and there are a lot of people in that organization with a vested interest in making sure that he is happy. And in classic Tyreek Hill fashion, he is taking full advantage of that leash. If you couldn't tell that Hill is a diva by his flashy outfits, demeanor with the media, or the videos on his YouTube channel, this quote really sums it all up in clear terms.
That's where probably me and the Chiefs fell apart right there when I'm like, yo, I don't mean to talk or be a diva in some situations, but hey, can I see the peel sometimes, please?
Yeah, just give me the ball.
Just give me the ball, please.
Look, if you have a star player saying, I don't mean to be a diva, usually that's a pretty safe bet that they've already crossed that line long ago. Odell Beckham Jr. There always has to be an underlying reason when a player as talented as OBJ ends up playing for 3 different teams in 2 years. And in this shifty wide receiver's case, it's because his diva antics borderline outweigh his talent at this point in his career. Ever since Beckham broke into the league in 2014 with the New York Giants, his talents have been absolutely undeniable. But you know, so has the headache that comes with them. Whether it was the tirades he would throw on the sidelines during his time in New York or feuding with his quarterback like he did in Cleveland, Odell always seems to find a way to make everything about him, as evidenced by his selfish behavior, even when the team is doing well without him accumulating numbers. And when the team is bad, well then that hits a whole new level of chaos. Now that Beckham is 30, he's started to finally chill out a little bit. But then again, we are just a few months removed from his legendary airport meltdown. Truth be told, he just may never grow out of his diva ways. Baker Mayfield. Though Baker Mayfield's behavior in Cleveland is starting to appear somewhat vindicated by the success he's having in Tampa Bay and the dysfunction that has continued to swirl in the Browns' facilities, it's still tough to say that the former #1 overall pick has not been a huge diva since Cleveland took him at the top of the 2018 NFL Draft. For starters, he took every ad deal imaginable and had his face slapped onto every commercial possible, something that tends to rub veteran players the wrong way, particularly if it's a younger guy who hasn't really proved much at the professional level just yet. And of course, he has continually butted heads with teammates and coaches, particularly after the smidge of success that he had during that one good year in Cleveland. And you know, the ultimate irony about Baker's diva behavior is that if you asked him, he's probably in complete denial about it. As far as Mayfield is concerned, he is a team-first grinder, a leader of men, when in reality, he's actually been a me guy even dating back to his college days. David Bakhtiari. While most fans are probably used to seeing wide receivers get pegged as the divas on their favorite teams, the Cheeseheads in Green Bay have a special treat to seeing one of their team's offensive linemen, typically one of the grittiest and most selfless positions on the team, turn into a huge diva. Though I will give Bakhtiari his credit, because his diva-like behavior is not without good reason. Green Bay's 5-time All-Pro tackle has been at war with the NFL over its unwillingness to part ways with the turf field that Bakhtiari believes is a significant detriment to player safety. Bakhtiari has been extremely outspoken, even calling out the league on X for its decision to swap out the turf for grass for the World Cup, saying, "Congrats at the NFL. How many more players have to get hurt on artificial turf? You care more about soccer players than us. You plan to remove all artificial turf for the World Cup coming up, so clearly it's feasible. I'm so sick of this. Do better." And yeah, actually, generally speaking, he's got a point, as it's been shown that there is a correlation between turf fields and a spike in non-contact injuries. And I guess after seeing his former teammate and one of his best friends, Aaron Rodgers, go down in Week 1 on the Meadowlands turf, Bakhtiari decided enough was enough and took a stand, opting to sit out Week 2 for the Packers' road matchup with the Falcons, who, you guessed it, have a turf field on their home turf. And with the Packers blowing a 12-point lead in that game, the fans are starting to turn on him, as is the coaching staff. Matt LaFleur looked visibly frustrated when reporters inquired as to whether or not Bakhtiari was going to sit out every game on turf going forward.
Did he not play because it was a turf game or because he had a issue that popped up last week?
Well, his knee is injured and there was swelling, so.
If that game's played at Lambeau Field, is he able to play or not?
I don't believe so.
Just to clarify, is this a...
I'm not talking, all right, that's it. Just to clarify, I'm done talking about it.
About the knee, like, was this...
I'm not talking about it.
That's the nature of the beast when you have a diva on your team, regardless of the position. Kadarius Toney. I'm not really sure how, but I think Kadarius Toney missed the memo that you actually have to produce for the whole diva shtick to work in the NFL. But ever since the New York Giants took him 20th overall out of Florida in the 2021 draft, Toney has been a huge headache, despite contributing damn near nothing. He made 4 starts his rookie year, notching 39 catches for 420 yards. Then the following year, he somehow managed to take a further step backwards. The Giants traded him after 2 games, mind you, very unproductive games, and though there was some hope that he'd get in line and joining an organization like the Chiefs, that really hasn't been the case. At his best, Toney has been a non-factor for Kansas City. And at worst, like we saw in Week 1 this year, the wideout has been a major detriment to the team's success. But that hasn't stopped him from pursuing a rap career under the stage name of Young Joka and trying to act like he's a superstar on social media. Hey, sorry to say, Kadarius, but you're going to be out of the league in the blink of an eye if you don't drop the act and start to contribute something on the field. Simply put, this guy is not worth the headache. Chris Jones. Chris Jones is another Chiefs player that is starting to develop a reputation for being kind of self-centered. Jones spent the entire offseason embroiled in a contract dispute with Kansas City's management and said point blank that he was willing to get docked the game checks and sit out until Week 8. Now, before you think that he's returning Week 8 out of the goodness of his heart or to make a playoff push, Week 8 is actually the cutoff point in the season to have it count as a year of service. Jones, however, does have a bit of a point. The Chiefs' defense is completely different without him on the field. But that doesn't mean the fans or even his teammates are happy about it. In fact, some of them were downright pissed. There was even a trade Chris Jones movement starting on social media this offseason when it appeared he was going to miss half the season. Well, now that Jones has returned to action after missing just 1 week, a lot of that has quieted down. But this is still a situation to monitor closely. So keep your eyes peeled. DK Metcalf. There is no doubt that the Seahawks got a steal taking DK Metcalf at the end of the 2nd round in the 2019 draft. Give them credit for rolling the dice on him too, because DK was one of the most polarizing players in the draft that year. He was a combine darling with his insane athletics, but the media flipped on him, clowning his ability to change direction, run routes, and actually catch the ball. You know, basically everything besides running fast in a straight line. Well, here we are, 4 years into his career, and he's averaged over 1,000 yards as a pro, and has no doubt quieted his haters. But with that, he's also developed a bit of a diva mentality. On a very basic level, he just dyes his hair a different color like every other week, which sort of just screams, hey, look at me. And on top of all that, he struggled to sort of keep his temper on the field. And along with that, he makes a couple of boneheaded plays and celebrates a little too early. A.J. Brown. The A.J. Brown acquisition looked like a huge success for Philly in year one. He was a monster last year, going for 1,496 yards and 11 touchdowns, and appeared to play a significant role in the development of Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts. But you know, there's a reason that the Eagles were able to acquire a player of his caliber. He had clearly fallen out of favor with the Titans coaching staff because of that same behavior that we have started to see out of him this year. When you see a wide receiver arguing with his quarterback about targets during a win, well, that's never a good sign.
What did you have to say to AJ and Jalen? I guess
As the conversations we have on the field are going to be private, and the conversations we have in our locker room are going to be private. Y'all don't need to know what was going on right there.
Jonathan Taylor. Coming out of Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor was considered to be one of the hardest working and down-to-earth talents in the draft. But this past year, we've seen a change take place. Taylor has become extremely disgruntled with his contract situation despite him coming off a down injury-plagued year. He went as far as to fire his agent and demand a trade, shocking Colts fans who had fallen in love with the young running back during his first couple years in Indy. Taylor has now started the 2023 season on the PUP list with a mysterious injury. And although the team has maintained that they will not be trading the star running back, his future with the organization seems very much in question. But who do you think is the biggest diva in the NFL right now? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.